Greetings! Don't you want to turn around? Oh. Greeting interwebs and grandchildren, this is Jack K, and welcome to more Pokemon Colosseum. In the last episode, we made it to Pirate Town and took a bit of a tour around. This time, I think it's worth checking out the suspicious-looking Duel Square. Onwards to the Fire Adventure. Now, the big thing about Colosseum is that it's very battle-heavy and not very adventure-based. Like, despite the fact there's no random battles, there's a lot more trainer battles to make up for it. And it can make for an interesting situation in Pokemon games. And it can make an interesting situation when you're playing through them and commentating for the internet's sake. If you remember from when I did Pokemon XD, a lot of times I sped up the significant trainer fights and post-commentated over them. I think I'll be doing a similar thing with this playthrough. There's something I have planned for when we go for areas that are nothing but trainers, almost in the sense of a dungeon. But I'll get into that when the time comes. Let's see if I can remember which of these trainers has what I want to do first. If you try talking to anyone in Duel Square, there's only one answer. And that's fight! Let's see if I guess right. I'm trying to play around the bush, but each of these Pokemon trainers actually each have a Pokemon for Black Aurora. And there's one of them that I actually want to add to my party. I'm trying to take on that trainer first and then speed up the rest of them and post-commentate over. Let's see. Yep, I think I guessed it correctly. Yep, I'm actually going to be using Skip on my team. In reality, I have a different grass type in mind, but it won't really come around until very late into the game. So, for the most part, Skiploom will be my grass type of party. And since this is the one battle that we're actually going to have on screen, I might as well go over the mechanics of the Pokemon with the Black Aurora. As you see, Pokemon only knows the move Shadow Rush. And yay! Pokemon AI! You are such a brilliant creation! I mean, really? Grass type move against a fire type! That's freaking amazing! You are so brilliant, Pokemon AI! Okay, yes. I don't think I got this out of the way, so let me get this out of my breath. The number one reason I hate this game is because the AI is so stupid. At least early on. A recent playthrough I've seen, it seems like as you go on with the game, the AI actually gets better. Which, okay, sure, it's an RPG. It's a video game in general. It's supposed to get more challenging. But they're not supposed to be stupid. Like this frickin' thing. And that's actually my confession. I actually was gonna play Pokemon Colosseum. I did a practice run a while ago, and I gave up on the practice run because of the AI. It was just taking all the fun out of the way because it was so stupid. Do you know what's amazing and stupid? How the Pokemon with the Black Auroras have the ability to use moves besides this whole Shadow Rush thing. But my Pokemon with the Black Aurora, and has nothing to do with the word Shadow Rush in it, can't use this move yet. It has to be purified more. Isn't that just amazing? I actually haven't had a situation that I was hoping I would get into. Supposedly, if you use Shadow Rush, you have the possibility to going into this alternative state known as Hyper Mode. However, Quivalva doesn't want to seem to do it today, which is disappointing, considering, yeah, it's like the best way to purify it, to keep calling it out of this hyper state. It does have other benefits, but it doesn't really outweigh the draws in my eyes. Like, the Shadow Rush move has a higher chance of getting a critical hit. Well, you know, it got a critical hit, even though it wasn't in hyper mode. But it has a lot of downsides, too. Like shown before, in the last episode, or episode 3, you can't heal in hyper mode. If you try to use a move besides Shadow Rush, it could ignore you, it could attack your partner, or it could attack you. Ironically enough, only the latter has no effect other than wasting the turn. Why not? Let's try our Premier Ball glitch. That was pretty much freaking over. I'm looking forward to actually pulling this off right. Go! Snag Ball! Do your job and catch me a Pokemon! 1, 3, 2, 1. Yay! We caught our second party member. Third if you want to count the one that was with us at the beginning of the game. Oh, that is incredible. I love strong guys like you. If you ever get the urge to battle me again, I'm always here for you, honey. Why do those trainers here have those strange Pokemon? I'm sure of it now. The town's hiding a big secret. And now that we got our party member, those of you who are familiar with Colosseum, no, I will not be using the Pokemon that is the same species type as Cotton Falcon. There is only one Cotton Falcon. At least for now. They cause terrible time paradoxes as well. How in the world would Cotton Falcon exist in the past, when it was in Pokemon XD? It totally wasn't a period of time that I was considering making a whole crazy subplot just to dedicate to Cotton Falcon reappearing in the past so I could use him again in this game. Nope. Now, I actually want to talk about our newest catch for a little bit. Skip-Boom isn't necessarily the greatest Pokemon ever. Pretty shoddy in the attack and defense, is only good for speed. But when we relearn his moves, it'll come in pretty handy for snagging other. That's one thing I felt I kinda lacked in XD. A Pokemon to truly help making snagging easier. My original plan kinda backfired when I realized that we wouldn't be getting said Pokemon that would have a sleeping move until very late in the game. But that's in the past, and I've learned from it by making room for a Pokemon to use in the present. Even if it isn't a full powerhouse. If it'll help us snag things easier, that'll make it worthwhile on its own. Now with that, speed up time! So I covered some of the basics of the Pokemon with Black Aurora, but I want to go a little bit more into the move Shadow Rush itself. Shadow Rush is basically a strong takedown. It has 90 base power, but does recoil damage. As mentioned before, when you're in Hyper Mode, it does have a stronger chance of getting a critical hit, like you saw with a quick second with Quivalva there. So early on in the game is very good, and it will serve you later on in the game as you get more Pokemon with the Black Auroras. However, I personally just don't like the way Shadow Rush is implemented into this game, just because I've been spoiled with how much better it was in Pokemon XD. In this game, Shadow Rush does neutral damage no matter what. No matter the Pokemon's type, it'll always do neutral damage. I just like how in Pokemon XD, it'll always do super effective damage against the foe. Unless there's another Pokemon with the Black Aurora. At least in this game, you do that neutral amount of damage to Pokemon with Black Auroras. as well as the normals. But I don't know, I like the whole typing thing of the Shadow Rush move in XD more. Just in case I didn't mention it before, the move Shadow Rush does have a possibility of making a Pokemon go into Hyper Mode. The possibility of going into this state is determined between the Pokemon's nature, which you can't see but still plays a role until you've purified it by lowering the bar enough, and will actually occur more frequently as you lower that purple bar. In this Hyper Mode state, a Pokemon's more likely to get a critical hit with Shadow Rush. However, when trying to use any of his other moves, it has the possibility of completely ignoring you, attacking your partner, using a different move, and overall just an experience not worth having. I believe it has the possibility of doing those things even if you do use Shadow Rush, although I'm pretty sure the facts stick to that if you keep on using Shadow Rush, those side effects will not occur. And definitely, as I said before, you can't use an item if a Pokemon's in Hyper Mode. I want to draw your attention to the battle at hand for a few minutes because it's a pretty interesting end. I actually end up having to snag Misdreavus and use it to finish the job. It was that close to a battle. Misdreavus is a very good early on Pokemon, but because it doesn't get an evolution in this generation, it becomes hard to use later on in the game. Misdreavus is one of my favorite ghost types, and I was going to use it in Colosseum. However, let's just say other people have done before, and I've come up with better ideas besides using a ghost type, because Ghost and Dark are fairly similar. But thanks to Misdreavus, I'm able to pull out a very narrow victory. Hooray! Easy. Easy? Wow. That was rather embarrassing. So since there will be a couple more times I bring up Pokemon AI, even slowing down the video so you can see it, let me put the words I've said before in a more clear way. It does go through a learning curve. It does go through the whole game thing of starting off easy and then getting hard. But every game before this has programmed AI better. Even the first generations were smart enough to have a Pokemon of even the most basic trainer not use a not very effective move against a Pokemon. Always try to go for the super effective moves. Colosseum AI! Like that. The only cases that I could possibly even imagine that ever happening is like in the very first generation games. And if that ever did happen in the first generation games, it was very situational, not a standard practice, or something you see multiple times in a random occurrence. But to get off that topic for my own sake, I like the concept behind Battle Square. They give you multiple trainers to fight, each with their own Pokemon of the Black Aurora, and each have different types. And it gives you a very good opportunity to diversify your team early on in the game, so you actually have all the different Pokemon types that you would want on a party. Otherwise, you have very few options to work with, and it would almost be unmanageable. So if you're like me and actually want particular team members that appear later on in the game, you have the option to just take the Pokemon with you for now, and when you get the Pokemon you want, then replace them with your new party member. A concept I think I'll be doing a lot in Colosseum. Similarly. Well, here comes a fabulous Pokemon AI story. Note how the Skiploom and Kulava are paralyzed. Yes, it did try to paralyze an already paralyzed Pokemon. This Flaffy is not worthy of the Cotton Falcon name. You can see Skiploom's already pulling his weight on the team. This is exactly what I want him for. Using that sleep powder that we've unlocked to put the Pokemon to sleep and make it more vulnerable for catching purposes. This poor Flaffy doesn't even deserve to be caught in a Great Ball. It's going right into a regular Pokeball, not even a Premier Ball. Enjoy! This is kind of funny. I called them both out of the Hyper Mode just to get purification. I call them, and they go right back into Hyper Mode. So tempting to abuse that, but There's no reason to drag out a battle any more than it needs to be. Even sped up, that would have been long and tedious if I kept calling them every time they got into hyper mode. So I ended up compromising with just one of them. Let's just see if I can brace my team for this final battle. Despite the flaws the game has, Colosseum is a game that I may consider doing eventually because, like, hey, it's a prequel to Pokemon XD. The mechanics that were in that game wouldn't have been possible if this game didn't come along. It's still a nice fresh pace from the traditional Pokemon game of catching wild Pokemon. I think I have better memories of it as a child as I do now. The early AI kind of takes away that fun, so I'm really excited for getting into the later parts of the game where the AI actually starts getting good. I think a lot of my memories with it was because it was one of the first games I actually went traveling with, way back when the GameCube was the most recent console. I got a portable screen for the device, and it came with cables that allowed me to plug it to the car socket, you know, those cigarette lighter like electric plugs. And we had a traditional family trip down to Florida, and I would play Colosseum for that whole ride. I was so into the game at the time that I wanted to play it even when we were already at our vacation spot and vacationing, but I'll get into that particular memory another day. For some reason I thought that whole thing with Noctowl was actually smart AI for once, so I was applauding it for it. Probably because I swapped Skiploom for Mischievous, so the AI was actually attacking the right target for once. Yes, I did get lucky with the Noctowl having insomnia in the sake of being able to use sleep powder on it. Yes, I am going for all the Shadow Pokemon in the game, even though I'm not gonna go for 100% for now. And I believe that takes care of all the Black Aurora Pokemon in the Duel Square. You may guess each of them give you advice, but I'll probably explain all the advice about Shadow Pokemon as we go along. I believe that covers everyone. Why can't I not remember if I fought you? But I guess I'll just double check in the next episode if we got everything. What we will be doing next episode, I guess we gotta find out to see. I don't think I talked to you before, NPC. You get your time register. I hear rumors you win the challenge, you get an awesome Pokemon like Kale. Jeez, what am I seeing? That's supposed to be a secret. And then you never ever heard me, okay? Check it. Wasn't there a guy hanging out at the town entrance called Kale? We should ask him. He might know something. And that is what we will do in the next episode. So this has been Jackie K, and I'll see you all then.